Hello, I'm Pamela Stiefel, and today I am doing a costume design project. My play is August Wilson's Joe Turner's Common God. I really love this play for the vibrancy and the culture and the nature of this story. And it is a story that is told by Black people for the entire community to understand what was happening at that time. And in the early 1900s, with this setting being 1911, it really speaks to a time after Reconstruction when many Black people were forced off of their farms, lost everything, and in a lot of cases were very devastated by the current political environment as well as things that were just going on with them. And once this play comes along and takes place in 1911, you see two characters, Seth and Bertha, and they own their own house, their own hotel, or their own boarding house, as they would call them back then. And so those two characters are very much entangled into the story, and they are sort of the roots of the story. And so I wanted to do costume design today to dress Seth and Bertha. I also wanted to dress Molly. Molly is a very vibrant character who comes into the scene. You see her as a sort of prolific type of character where her vibrancy speaks through her clothes, and the costumes were just amazing and vibrant and colorful. And you see that her character really comes through. The clothing that they wore really spoke to just their situation. And I think that Seth and Bertha were two people who were a little elevated in their status in the community with owning their own boarding house. And so I really wanted to speak to that level of just elevation for them. For Bertha, she's really toned down. She's actually not very, loud or vibrant, but she just plays such a pivotal role. And so I wanted to dress her in some sturdy fabrics, like, just a thick cotton blouse, and then, but also speak to that time of modesty as well. The collars all the way up to the chin, and then the beautiful designs and some of it being frilly. But her character was really just one that while she would wear clothing that was, a little pretty, if you will, a little dainty, but then she wore these clothes with her sleeves rolled up, and it was just like she meant business. She went into the kitchen. She worked hard for her boarders. And so I wanted to do something that was just a little bit of, showing a tough attitude, but at the same time giving it a little elegance. Those fabrics were also just worthy of being in the kitchen and taking abuse and day after day of cleaning and scrubbing. So the fabrics were very, very good, but also just a great look for her to be able to express herself in a way that she knows that she's a little bit more elevated at this point in her life, even though she's going through her own issues. So her two-piece was a blouse and the skirt, but then I also wanted to do something to showcase just that elevation again. So with her shoes, I went with a very Victorian style, sort of Edwardian style type of shoe. Very, very good for the time, and had just a cute look to them as well, because the heels were like little kitten heels. So it gave a little lift without killing your feet. And at that time, when she was working around the boarding house and doing so much, she would, wear these great shoes that fit her, but also, again, just kind of went with that status of elevation. So when it came to Seth, I wanted to dress him in some bolder wool type, strength showing materials. And when I say strength showing, it's just, they're sturdy. They're a lot like Bertha, where she was wearing those cotton fabrics. I decided to go with a wool type of fabric for him, with a traditional vest and a striped shirt, and then some wool pants with the suspenders, because of that day, that was just very common practice for men to wear those types of outfits. But for him, it was more of a, just an ownership type of wool and that sense of strength within Seth. So he was also wearing a very a very sturdy leather apron at one point in the play, and I love that because it just speaks to his ability, his strength, his skill. So that leather matched his abilities to portray somebody who was very strong and who could take care of the boarding house and also be able to provide for his family. So with Molly, her clothes were just a little bit more lavish, I would call it. With that lavishness became some, frilly type of clothing, and it also just showed her vibrance, and that color, it just made her stand out. Whereas a lot of the other colors, especially for Bertha, where she just sort of blends into the background and she wears the typical apron every day over her shirt and skirt, Molly was just a little bit more flagrant and flamboyant. So I wanted to go with a satin type material, a very vibrant reddish burgundy color with some lace to just sort of trim it out, and then also show just a little bit more of her dainty side as well. The hat that she wears has to be flagrant and huge and very big. And so with that hat, I wanted feathers and, just to really showcase how flamboyant she really is. And I think that really just kind of pulled all of her clothes together, along with her beautiful shoes. Again, a Victorian shoe with a kitten heel that kind of just goes with the time. But for her, that black and red just stood out, and it just made her pop out on the stage. I just love that all of the characters had their own sense of style, and the reasons I wanted to go with those fabrics sort of match their personalities. And those types of clothing that they wore spoke to their everyday lives, and it spoke to the types of people they were. And so the reason I picked the fabrics that I did and the costume styles that I did is so that I could showcase those characters. And I wanted to wear Bertha's costume so that I could actually embody what it meant to be Bertha on the stage. And as I put on these clothes and modeled them, I wanted to just show that while she was just a strong woman and she ran her boarding house and did it very well, she also just had that style and grace that went along with her personality.